Good morning, everyone. My presentation today is first aid for drowned casualties. And what actually brought this presentation was basically because of the events that happened uh, during the week. And I think it is high time for we to educate ourselves on how to deal with situation that arises around drowning situation. So one thing we should have on the back of the mind is that when we have a drowning casualty, the drowned casualty, the most important thing that matters is time. You have to be at a very high speed of reacting. You have to be very proactive. Means that you have very short limited time to take certain decisions. Decide if the casualty is still going to be alive. Yeah. First of all, let's understand what drowning is. Drowning is an experience where the respiratory part of the body is being impaired. We don't have oxygen exchange between the lungs and the atmosphere. When one is being submerged into water or liquid substances, that when one is said to experience drowning. And this is because naturally the oxygen we take into our system, the gaseous exchange between the heart, the bloodstream, and the lungs. The lungs is connected through the capillaries and arteries and veins straight to the heart because there's exchange of oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. The lungs is helping to filter to bring in oxygen into the blood, while it's also taking out moving the oxygen, moving carbon dioxide from the blood. So, what are the common causes of drowning? When we have lack of supervision, when especially when children are swimming, they are not supervising children. Inability to swim. Most of us, I know most of us can't swim, maybe because we are not close to riverine bodies or so on. Some situation might be alcohol consumption. Then another situation that can cause drowning is poor safety standards and procedures on waterways. Then we have hazardous water conditions, and also have boat and accidents. The most popular one is the one that happened over the week, where it was more of an accident where we had a crew member and also a popular actor also drowning in that water body. So let's know the difference between drowning and near drowning. Drowning is a fatal outcome of submersion, while near drowning is when you survive, you wake up and you come out of that situation. That's when you say near drowning. But drowning is the person became a casualty from that. So let's see some of the famous drowning stories. The first one, the most popular one, is the Titanic shipwreck that happened between Southampton and New York when the newly ship that was constructed, and the people that constructed the ship said that even God cannot sink that ship, that that ship is unsinkable. And fortunately, the ship did strike an iceberg on its way, and it resulted to almost 1,503 people drowning in that particular shipwreck. We also heard of those situation in 2022 when he lost his son, Ifeanyi, to a drowning situation in a very small bathtub in his house. Then with the current one that happened, we have the junior Pope, the popular Nigerian actor who died tragically in that accident. And if you see, if you follow the stories that are happening on the last issue, we saw that when John Pope was brought out of the water, they first of all took him to the mortuary. From the mortuary to the herbalist, and from the herbalist Herbalist now told them to take him to the hospital. So you can see that drowning actually takes, for one to be gone completely as a result of drowning, you have less than 20 minutes. 20 minutes, 4 minutes, you have less than 4 minutes for the brain to stop responding as a result of oxygen not getting to the brain. Then you have less than 10 minutes to, to actually revive that person, to get oxygen back to the brain. Person is brain dead. So let's see the steps at which you can actually address issues of drowning. The first step is uh, rescue the casualty. Well, in the process of rescuing the casualty, you should realize that your safety is also paramount. You don't go dive into the water straight trying to rescue the person. If you are not a trained professional, you're not a professional diver, you don't go into water. So, and you don't know how to swim very well, you don't go into water. So, how can you know? You can reach, you can throw stick, you can also through the light boy that can actually the person can catch, drag the person out. So you try as much as possible to bring the person out of the town, but don't endanger yourself process of carrying out that activity. Yes, when you have the casualty with you, as a first aider, the first thing you should have at the back of your mind is the basic doctor's ABC. Now, the basic doctor's ABC, they give you a proper guide on how you should attend to a casualty. Of course, initially I said you should observe the danger. Don't put yourself in a dangerous situation so that you don't have double casualty. You also have to watch for response. You have to keep the person, pinch the person, check if the person is responding, tap the person's shoulder. Tap, hello, hello. Uh, my name is Adewale. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? If the person is not responding, then you should know that you should go to the next stage, which is shout or call for help. That's why you now call the 767, which is the emergency number for the 112. It's that time, it's the time of reaction counts a lot. So all the decisions must be made as swiftly as possible. Then after that, if the person is still not responding, you still go ahead to check the person's airways. How do you check the person's airways? You make sure that anything blocking the person's airway, you might have debris of water that can block the person's airway. You try as much as possible to remove all the debris. Then you also tilt the head with your right finger, and get up so that air can start going into the lungs. Then the next thing you also observe for breathing, because you open the airway, moving out of obstruction, and you're not observing your breathing, you might not you observing the breathing might actually let you know the next thing or next step to, because if the person is breathing, the next thing you do is just to take the person to the appropriate position, you're waiting for help to come. But in a situation where the person is not breathing, that's when you now go to the next stage, which is CPR. That's a cardiopulmonary resuscitation, where you have to start acting as quickly as possible, knowing fully well that the person is not breathing, and you have to bring the person back to life. In the process of doing your CPR, what you are currently doing is that you are taking the job of the heart manually. You're actually doing the job of the heart manually. You're trying as much as possible to make sure oxygen gets to the brain, oxygen gets to the other parts of the brain. There is a situation where if you're lucky enough and you have AED around, you can also introduce AED into that situation. This makes sense. So when we are calling for emergency, please know that there are very, very key vital information that has to person you're calling when giving out information. You have to, first of all, you have to know the emergency number. You have to, please, in Nigeria, it's not 911. What we have in Nigeria is 767. Everybody should have this emergency number on their phone. Every time, this number should be boldly written in emergency points, offices, and anywhere. One can easily sleep and easily call when emergency calls. Then the next one is provide your location. You have to give clearly the location where you are so that the ambulance or they might help you know how to find or update their way down to where you are. Then you have to also describe the condition of the person you are actually kind of text. So from the diagram here, we can see how we're supposed to like tilt the head when you are trying to make sure that the airway is actually open. Because if you don't tilt the head, in the first diagram, you see the airway being blocked by water. But in the process of tilting the head, you're opening the airway to the you're opening the airway to a wider volume to accommodate more oxygen to go into the body system. Yes. So after that, I also said you have to start the chest compression. That's severe. Know that when you're going for chest compression, you're going for two breaths of like 30 chest compression. You're going to give two breaths of like then 30 chest compression. But there's a school of thought from different angles. Which one should you do first? Are you taking the breath of that first, chest compression? But different school of thought comes from the fact that when you start the chest compression, the 30 chest compression, you already have rich oxygen in the blood already. When you start, that oxygen in the blood can start supplying the brain almost immediately. But due to also providing oxygen into the lungs also gives immediate exchange of oxygen to the blood vessel. So by any which way, one can always go first. But some people, when they are breaking the casualty out of the water, they start introducing the breath of life first before they get to solid ground and start doing the chest compression. Next. So I have this video that actually explains in details of why we should do the chest compression.
After 10 minutes, brain damage becomes irreversible. The power to save a life is truly in your hands. Performing CPR accomplishes two critical things. One, compressions move oxygenated blood to the brain to keep the brain alive. And two, compressions keep blood and oxygen moving to the heart muscle itself, so that it has the best chance of resuming a normal electrical rhythm after a shock is delivered. As you begin compressions, you are creating an artificial pump and doing the work of the heart manually. With each good, effective compression, you are building up pressure in the system, which will move blood around the heart and up to the brain. It does take time to get the blood moving with CPR, so it is very important to push hard and push fast to build the pressure up, which keeps blood going to the brain. Pushing down at least 2 inches allows for the heart to be squeezed and blood to move out. Pushing at a rate of 100 to 120 compressions per minute is necessary to keep blood pumping. Let's see what happens when we take our hands off the chest. Blood stops moving to the brain. It is for this reason that if you are taking your hands off the chest to deliver breaths or switching roles, it is critical to minimize time off the chest. Watch what happens when we don't push deep enough. Blood does not reach the brain. The same is true if we do not push fast enough. Watch what happens when we push too fast. The heart does not have time to refill with blood. Therefore, not enough blood gets pumped out. Watch what happens when we don't allow the body to decompress and allow the chest to fully recoil. The heart does not have a chance to refill with blood. Therefore, no blood gets pumped out. So remember, the key purpose of delivering compressions is to keep oxygenated blood moving within the heart and up to the brain, keeping the brain alive. We need to push hard and push fast in the center of the chest. If ribs break, that's okay. What's not okay is allowing the brain to die from a lack of oxygen. So remember, you are their only hope. Do the best you can and don't give up until medical help arrives or an AED is present. You can do it.
So the person has a very high chance of surviving when he is CPR. So I actually brought actually demonstrate how we should carry out CPR. Like I said earlier on, when you're following your basic doctors A, B, C, D, the first thing first is danger. You have to observe that you bring the person away from the dangerous situation the person is. The danger here is that you are bringing the person out of the water body. Now you have the person out of the water body. The next thing you need to do is to check for response. Now, if the dummy we have here, his name is Mr. Kende, what I will do here is hello Kende. Kende, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Kende, can you hear me? If there is no response, now you have to move to the next phase. What's the next phase? You need to call for help. You need to what? Call for help. Shout. You need assistance. So immediately, if you are two at that spot, you can give instruction. Please call 767. Please, not 911. Because we have it at the back of your mind. Don't watch too much American film. You know we're calling an emergency number 911. It's not 911. So after you've actually checked for response, call for help, I've done D, R, S, then the next thing you do is A, which is the airway. You have to watch out for the airway. How do you watch out the airway? You check if the person has any form of obstruction, if the mouth is clogged or has any debris there, you make sure you bring it out. Make sure the airway is clear. The nose, make sure the nose, anything blocking it is there. Then you now tilt. This is how you tilt. Make sure this head is tilted this way, because when you tilt the head this way, more air and oxygen will start going into the lungs. Now, when more air starts going into the lungs, there's more gaseous exchange between the lungs and the heart. But at the same time, we should not forget that this casualty, is not still responding. So what's the next phase to do? You still have to watch for the person's airway. How do you watch for the airway? You have to put your chin. You observe for breathing. What you need to do is to bring your chin close to the casualty's nose, and your eye is angle 90 watching the person's chest. As you are observing, if the casualty is breathing, you will feel the exchange of gas with this warm air coming out of the person's nose or mouth. And at the same time, you will be seeing like some kind of movement on the chest. Right? So immediately, you observe that, and the person, you're seeing no response, the person is not breathing, there's nothing coming out of the person. That's when you now commence or administering CPR. How do we administer CPR? One thing you should know is that when administering CPR, it's no fun time, no joke, and it can be very exhausting. It can take a whole lot of your strength. But if you have somebody around, you can also tell the person to observe so that you can be changing in cycle. The other person will come and do the same thing again. So what you do, immediately you start with your hands locked like this. You have to lock your hand and apply this part of the chest is called the sternum. Sternum is also attached to the rib cage. So you place your hand not on the ribs, but in the sternum. In the sternum. Most of us, can we touch our sternum? This is our sternum. So you place your hand on the sternum and you start. Please, your body position also matters. You have to apply a whole lot of pressure from your head, your back region, and your head. Because you need to add, if you stay like this, you might not get the effectiveness of doing the CPR. If you stay like this too much, might not. You have to stay at 90 in a way that your body has to apply a whole lot of pressure, and you have to push as hard as possible. and you have to go deep as 2 inches down the chest, like this. Watch. After 30 chest compression, you pinch the nose so that you don't have any air escape. You have to pinch the nose. I know this is very difficult for a lot of people because you don't want to have mouth-to-mouth mouth-to-mouth connection, but the thing is that there's what we call barriers that you can introduce. You don't have mouth um, direct mouth exchange with the person. Or you can, if you have a bandage, that's one of the functions of the bandage. You can fold it like two-fold, you place it on the mouth, then you blow in your air. Or if you don't mind, but you do it at your own risk. If life at that point matters to you, you are at the first aider, you don't think of any other thing. You think about the person back, like irrespective whether the person is a female, a male. So you pinch deep and you blow your air. 30. But in situation where you have AED, what you can do is that there's an instruction on the AED machine going to tell you when to apply the patch, one on the chest and one on the side here. When you are patched, when you put the patches, goes for further instruction. The AED will tell you clear off and it will strike some electric current in the heart. But it doesn't stop there. The AED machine will tell you continue with CPR. If the heart is not responding, it will tell you to continue with CPR. After a while, it goes on like that. So the next thing I want to also finally tell people is how to take one to recovery position. This recovery position is very, very important. Only, I repeat, you can only take one to the recovery position only if the person has responded. The person has not responded, please continue what you're doing, continue pushing CPR, continue pushing the chest compression as long as the person, till when the person responds. But if the person doesn't respond, rather, what you do, you take the person to recovery position. How do you take the person? So I want to take Tijani to recovery position because he has responded. So all I do is this is hand, I'll put it in an angle 90 position like this. Please press next. We'll go to the next slide. Angle 90. Then the next thing is that you take this second hand, you put it to his chin like this, and you hold it there. You don't take your hand off. Let's switch. Then you take the hollow of his leg, the hollow of his leg. Please, for ladies, you don't go, if you are treating a female casualty, please, you don't go from the inside. The reason is because there's a lot of religious sentiments attached to situations like this in Africa and Nigeria. But they see you putting your hand in between a woman's leg, you have stressed another controversy. So make sure you go from the outside, not inside. Outside, then you pull the leg up, pull the leg up, then you step back a little, then you turn. Then finally, you then tilt the head. Well, this is recovery position. Thank you, that's not it. So the next slide. So let's look at the aftercare and prevention of drowning situation. When you have a drowned casualty, the person must have experienced a whole lot of the person has lost a lot of heat, because of the fact that he's trying to struggle, and then also the water body can also be very. We have the casualty woman. The person has actually lost a lot of heat. The person is experiencing what we call the hypothermia. So the person is actually very cold. You need to cover the person with blanket. So you have to cover the casualty with blanket so that the casualty the temperature can return back to normal. Then, as usual, I said you need to seek medical attention. Very serious condition, almost immediately. Then for future incidents, let's try and encourage promote water safety education. How do you promote water safety education? Just like what you think now. And we should also take it as a priority from our own side to go and learn how to swim. It is not. It's just like learning how to swim is not. It's just one of those life skills you must have before you die, because you don't know when you might need that particular skill. You know that when you're learning how to ride the bicycle, it's a life skill. When you learn it, you learn it for life. When you're learning how to drive, you learn that skill, you learn it for life. The same goes with swimming. You should learn how to swim because you might never know the way you are found in such a if you remove the flood, you have flood to happen. I mean, I think that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.